Thank you for joining us to share with you some ideas and concepts around streamlining a variety of business processes, largely related to knowledge management and collaboration, both internally and externally with clients. Healthy market momentum, working with a number of clients to leverage a handful of innovative digital toolkits to enhance profitability, transparency, and visibility, and importantly, underpinning some of these business processes using an enterprise-grade platform with a consumer experience. By introduction, my name is Ryan Stedman. I'm a customer value engineer at Tikit. I've been in the legal tech industry for over 18 years, working primarily across ERP, practice management systems, BPM workflows, and more recently structuring unstructured data. Of the 18 years, the last 2 have been spent with Tikit in North America and London. And my role primarily is working with clients to re-engineer business processes with either their existing technology or introducing new propositions with innovative toolkits. Tikit is a key integration and business partner with High Q. Tikit has been in the industry for 2 decades. We have 2 approaches to working with clients. One is to build our own technology and partner with clients, and there is, in fact, to partner with best-of-breed organizations such as High Q. You'll observe that Tikit's been involved in the legal industry now for some time. We have a fair client base both in North America and the United Kingdom. We have around 61 of the top 100 U.S. law firms using some of our technology stacks, and around 92 of the other UK law firms using a blend of our technology too. We invest a fair amount of R&D into leveraging and building new applications to help law firms become more profitable and really smarter law firms at what they do with their clients. Our goal today is to introduce you to the ideas and concepts to streamline and help law firms become more productive in how they go about doing their business. On the call today with me, I have an esteemed associate, Ryan McLeod, and Ryan's going to be anchoring the bulk of today's session.
Thank you, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Ryan and Ryan Show. I am McLeod. I am Business Transformation and Innovation Architect at High Q. By way of introduction, some of my background. You can see here, for the 13 years, was in IT and knowledge management at Fulbright and Jaworski, and then with Norton Rose Fulbright, post-combination. Last 3 years at Norton Rose Fulbright, I was the Legal Technology Innovation Architect, and I was working globally with our member firms all around the world to develop new products, new solutions, and new and innovative ways of delivering legal services. I'm a regular contributor to 3 Geeks in the Law blog, which you may have heard of. I've been writing for them for years now. And last year, I was the recipient of a Fast Case 50 award, which I'm quite proud of. So I have been with High Q for all of 4 months. I joined High Q in February, and in my role as Business Transformation and Innovation Architect, I have a couple of things that I do. I'm working with our customers to develop the same kinds of products and solutions that I was doing at Norton Rose Fulbright. And I'm also working with other technology companies to find ways that we can integrate and do more with our High Q products. So that's some of what I want to talk to you about today. And I want to start with a quick dilemma. This is that faces every IT department, whether a law firm or not, but certainly it's an issue in a law firm. And this is whether you buy new technology or build are proponents of each. I haven't laid out pros and cons here, but just some facts about each. So starting on the buy side, if you go out to buy new technology, you can usually deliver it more quickly. Certainly the deployment piece of it is quicker than building, but there's often long lead times because you have to send out to an RFP, get responses from many different service providers, some internal evaluation. It can take a great deal of time. And then, buy is usually, not always, but usually a more expensive proposition as well. You're paying for that quick delivery. And you're also paying for that external support and maintenance, meaning that once you've deployed, you've got someone behind the product that is helping you keep it functional and making sure it's up and running, that sort of thing. But then so buying usually leads to a single point solution, by which I mean it's a particular problem for you. And when you have another problem come along, you go through that process again. Certainly there sometimes you can reuse products to do other things, but often if you're buying a product off the shelf, it's solving a particular problem. Aside of that, and this isn't pros versus cons, but just the way building your software works, there's long development times. If you're going to build something from scratch, it's especially in a law firm, deliver it within 6 months, often a year or longer. There are costs associated with building software. Certainly, you're paying for whatever tools you're using, but you're also paying for the time of your developers. And if you want to move quickly, you have a lot of developers who can do that for you. Those are usually hidden because they're part of other budgets, but that doesn't mean that the costs don't exist. One of it's often cited for building your software is you get exactly what you want. Can be good. Again, in my experience, what things is you are looking and building to specifications often from a lawyer in a firm environment, and what you're doing is identifying the bad habits that people already have if you're getting exactly what you want. Whereas buying something, you need to, usually those products are developed with the help of consultants, with experts in the area, and you're going to get a streamlined and improved workflow. Another building software is you have to provide that ongoing support and maintenance. Someone or a company that is giving that to you. And usually in a law firm, what that means is you've got a long lead time between upgrades and improvements. You have people that are available to provide the support. And that's, again, another hidden cost. So that's buy versus build debate in a nutshell. Looking at it from an innovation standpoint, there are a couple of problems with innovation in a law firm, and I'll refer back to the buy versus build debate. First, obstacle to innovation is the rate of change within technology, which we all know is extremely fast, versus speed that a law firm can make a decision about anything. It takes a long time. If you're looking to buy something, it takes a long time for a firm to decide, yes, this is what we want, this is the best product. By the time you actually get through the RFP process and contracting, which can take a very long time in a law firm, that is probably outdated, or got a number of new participants in the marketplace, and you should probably reevaluate, which is a never-ending cycle. Money. It costs money to innovate, and when there's not an innovation budget. So I don't think I need to go into great detail on that. It's pretty clear, and if we go back to these, they both involve a great deal of money. if you're trying to move quickly to innovate something. And then the internal perception of IT, and I'm speaking specifically of IT, although it's true any department that is trying to do something innovative with technology within a law firm, and that is that it takes a while. So if you're building it yourself, it's going to take a while. By the time you get around to delivering something, whether you bought it or built it, often the internal participants, those who have asked for the technology, have lost interest. They've moved on. They're doing something else. It's difficult to move that quickly in a law firm. So I faced these issues at Monroe Fulbright in my former role, and I came up with a solution of sorts that I call Bricolage. It's not my word. It's one that I've adopted. And I gave a webinar, or sorry, not a webinar. I had a session at a conference in Toronto several weeks ago with my friend Noah Weisberg and Shelby Austin. Noah from Systems and Shelby Austin from Deloitte. And we did a webinar called Buy versus Build versus Bricolage. And you can see here on Twitter, I pasted this conversation between Andy Wilson, who's the CEO of Logical, and Noah, who's the CEO of Kira, and in which Andy is asking, what is bricolage? And Noah's answered that it's my fancy, nice French word for putting together out of many parts. And he, not incorrectly, called it it's a hack job. You can see at the bottom. I don't think so that I've been called much worse, but I think there's actually value in this kind of hack job, if you will. So dictionary definition is usually coming from art or literature, as you can see there. It's construction or creation from a diverse range of available things, something constructed or created out of that diverse range of available things. So that's what I'm looking at here. Rather than this option of we're going to go out and find that single point solution that is the perfect fit for a particular problem, or we're going to build the perfect solution that's the perfect fit for our particular problem. If we have a series of technologies, a number of technologies that are available to us, one form or another, we can take a piece of this, a piece of that, and put together either using APIs or even for type purposes, putting them together with some manual labor. In other words, I can take and solve the problem with one technology, and maybe there's a manual transition to the second technology that's going to do the second part, and then another manual transition to the third technology. That's not a solution that's going to work long term. But see, that's something that's going to allow you to show a prototype very quickly to stakeholders within the firm that are interested in a solution. And I want to talk a little bit about how I did that and the way that I explained it internally in the law firm. So this is what I call the 3 boxes of innovation. It's a simple way of explaining to players, to firm management, how we're thinking about technology. It begins in a sandbox, as you can see at the bottom. Sandbox is any and every technology I come across that I get access to. So usually sandbox are not technologies that I've fully licensed. Usually I have some sort of trial access. Speaking to vendors, my first, my last question is usually, can I access to a sandbox? And I mean specifically is preferably not a time-limited sandbox, because I can't say, because the way the law firms work, I can't say that I'll be able to evaluate effectively over weeks, or to say that, within 3 months I will be able to contract for it. The pitch that I make to a lot of these companies, or that I've made, was live in some other way. Reduce the amount of storage I can use. limit the number of documents I can review. However you want to do it, but don't limit me by time. Because it means that use case arises, I realize I need this technology. If I have it in whatever limited capacity it's given to me, I use it to build that prototype. And then I take it to the lawyer or to the stakeholder. It's going to give me leverage to actually get the license. So that's the sandbox, and I'll show you some of those technologies that I was talking about working with. Second box is the toolbox. This is representative of those softwares, those technologies that I have licensed. Things I know I have on hand that I can use to build these prototypes and these solutions. With the toolbox and sandbox together, I'm going to go to the toolbox first, get those technologies that I have available, but if I need to dip into the sandbox to get something else to build a prototype, that's only going to help me make the case to purchase the sandbox item and move it into the toolbox at some point. And then the third box, because every model has to have three pieces, and because I've on this box theme, third box is the window box. This is simply what we deliver, whether that's the prototype or if it's an actual working complete product that we're going to deliver. But that's what we're presenting externally, may be an internal product, but presenting externally to my team. So the sandbox, the toolbox, the window box. Now, I apologize for the blurriness of the slide, but I want to give you an example of how this three boxes technique and bricolage works within a law firm environment. So it's blurry because Norton Rose Fulbright is understandably not thrilled about me showing specifically what's done, but I'm happy to give you the overall concept, and I want to give you some visualization. So here is the scenario that I often tell that shows this concept in practice. So I was approached by a practice group from South Africa who had spent several months compiling information, a guide to a particular new legislation in their jurisdiction. They had, after they spent these several months gathering this information, then they worked with the marketing department, spent several weeks actually turning it into a glossy PDF, which is not as blurry as what you see here. They came to me because they wanted to charge a large amount of money for this PDF guide. And they were faced with this classic dilemma that we see in so many other industries. That is, if I sell this product to you in a digital format like PDF, you've spent a lot of money for it. It prevents you from simply sharing it with your friends at other corporations. This is the same dilemma that has been faced by the recording industry and by the motion picture industry. Now, something that we in law firms have to be aware of and have to face. What they were looking for, although they didn't use the term, but they were looking for digital rights management. They wanted to add some kind of lock to the app that prevent anyone who didn't have access from accessing. So open it up and use it. Some immediate response was, that's a terrible idea. We can't do that. Because you're going to ask your customers or your clients to spend a great deal of money. The last thing you want to do is tell them you cannot use this on this type of device or at this time of day, or you can't share it with your coworkers. You want to make it available to do as much as possible because you want to delight your clients and make them come back to you for new products and new services. So some details about this. It was a 106-page PDF with many chapters explaining exactly exactly how you can comply with this new legislation. And the last 20 pages of the PDF were a compliance checklist. It was, as you would print out, you could then go through and check off different aspects of compliance and ensure that, yes, in fact, you are compliant. So I went to my sandbox, toolbox, window box approach. And in my toolbox at that time, I had two products that I thought would be a good fit. It was High Q Publisher, which is not the product we're going to be talking about later today, but it's another form that High Q sells. It's content management platform. What I did was I took the content. I didn't initially. I built a prototype. I didn't take all of the content. I took the first few chapters on microsite in Publisher that'd be permissioned. I built out a couple of pages, a different page for each chapter that I copied in, did some very basic formatting, essentially taking the default look and feel of the High Q Publisher product. I did nothing elaborate with it. And then I went to those last 20 pages for the checklist, and I was familiar with and had been using for a couple of years ILTA, which is a platform that allows you to build expert systems. What I did was I took the first few pages of that checklist and tuned to an expert system, and then embedded it into the High Q Publisher product. And again, it's blurry; you can't see it, but essentially, this was all of the content from the chapter that I put in Publisher, and then down on the stage, for all intents and purposes, appearing to be the same product from Norton Rose Fulbright, was a expert system that was run on the Autologic server, but was delivered through the High Q Publisher product. So from a cost perspective, it was all one thing. Now, what I did was I took that, and it was pretty much out of the box. It was not complete by any means, but in 3 days, I delivered that to the practice group in South Africa. And I said, look, here's the possibility. Rather than doing this PDF, which someone's going to download and we're going to lock down and make it difficult to use, we could give them access to this site that we've created in Publisher. They're going to have all of the content that you created and to have the interactive checklist that could be reused multiple times. The part is, it's all permissioned. So you can choose who has access, what level of access they have, and you can, instead of selling it one time, it can be sold as a subscription. So it could be a monthly subscription, an annual subscription. You can add to it over time. It will grow. It will become something new. Hopefully what happens is it becomes the place that people go to actually do the work rather than simply a reference guide. So that's the Bricolage technique in a nutshell. You take a piece of this, a piece of that, and put it together quickly. You return a prototype, and at that point, you get some buy-in from your stakeholders that will help you get licensed for other tools that you might have brought in. So, for example, when I had the High Q Publisher product, I didn't have the microsites ability, but I had sandbox access to my site. And by showing them what to do with the microsite, I was then able to go back and get management to quickly turn around because we had a high-powered stakeholder who needed it, and we could license the microsites, and we built the product very quickly. So what many of you will say, what many people say to me is, well, great, you have all these technologies in your sandbox. You spent a lot of time building up relationships with all these people. I don't have time. I don't have people. I don't have the Verizon scanning ability. Where do I start? And I want to talk to you a little bit about High Q Collaborate, which are other primary platforms. High Q Collaborate is, in effect, a sandbox. it's a collaboration platform that I'll show you some screenshots in a minute. Has a number of different modules that can be combined and used in various ways to create new solutions. To show a little bit about some of those modules, I'm not going to go into great detail on these, but the intention here is that we've taken the best of consumer technology and put it together in a secure enterprise environment so that you can, in effect, take elements of these other consumer technologies that people are comfortable using, already know how to use, and you can combine them using this bricolage method, even within our platform, to create a solution. So you can see here some, and I've got some, you can see our modules, and I've got some logos on the right to show some examples of the kinds of consumer technologies that we've replicated in our environment. We'll go through a little bit and show you some screenshots here. These are screenshots fresh from our High Q forum, which we had last week in London. And what we showed, this is our brand new version of High Q Collaborate, which will be out this autumn. It's been delivered in beta form to our current customers now, but we'll be delivering the final product hopefully in September or October, maybe earlier if we're lucky. Just to show you some of the things that you can do, you'll see across the top here, we've got these are the various modules that can be turned on, turned off, and renamed. There's a lot of different things you can do. This is the home page. Simply a web page allows you to pull in various feeds like recent activity, but also events. But it's also a full web page. Anything you can do in HTML, you could put in here if you wanted to. This can be an introductory page for your customers coming into a site that you've created. Activity module, again, you can hear as I'm moving through these, this is going to change. Activity module gives you a log of what has happened recently on a particular site, but it also gives you Twitter-like @mentioning, the microblogging kind of capability. So I could send a message to Stuart and say, hey, Stuart, you should share that. And he can respond with a snarky response. But it can also be used for, obviously, better business use cases. The files module, this is what our platform is primarily built on. It was originally built for data rooms and extranets. This replicates the Box or Dropbox type functionality, but again, in a way that is secure. We're ISO 27001 compliant, so we meet all kinds of enterprise security needs. And you share large files like you can with Box or Dropbox, and be credible that they are there. Wiki. This I scrolled down a little bit just so you could see. This is the equivalent of Wikimedia, but as you can see, you can do things with attachments in Collaborate 4. You can put pictures in here. You can embed videos. Each wiki page is an HTML page, so you can embed other applications. You can do all kinds of things within the wiki. It's a very versatile module. Logs, it's much typical WordPress capability, but again, in a secure environment, you can share specifically with your clients, or you can share internally. You can do news and information through here. Task management, we have customers that are doing project management within the platform. This is shared calendaring. You can create RSS feeds that will then populate the calendars in people's Outlook. There's a lot of things you can do. Taking iSheets for a second, the people module, this is very basic CRM capability. You can share contact information for people on a particular project or setting a particular site. And then iSheets, this is the course. Think of it as the workhorse of this tool. This spreadsheet online spreadsheet functionality, but it goes way beyond that because there are many, many use cases. It's not a full relational database, but it's being used in a number of really innovative and fascinating ways that I would love to talk to you about in more detail another time. Show some use cases. These are all examples of use cases that our existing customers currently use our platforms for. Almost all of these are Collaborate. There are a few publisher examples in here, but as you can see, it's the kind of thing that that you can make it meet your needs, solve your particular problem, but without having a dedicated sources for development. Everything within our platform, out of the box, can be configured by someone using the administrative module. You don't need to go in and do coding. It doesn't require people on hand to make that happen. This completely unsolicited quote from a very good customer of ours, a good friend, Jennifer Ratch from Foley & Lardner. For every opportunity that is presented, I can think of a solution using High Q. I said that last week, and I immediately said, "Can't quote you on that," because I think it's accurate. I think it's a good example of how our customers feel about our products. So, going next step, you can do all of this without developers, and that is true. But many have developers. I had conversations with people who have a large number of SharePoint developers, and they say, "Well, what do I do with them?" Well, HiQ is this form, and you can create these solutions without any developers. If you have them, you own that platform. Rather than having your developers building a quick site for a particular matter, or simply spending all their time permissioning, you can have someone spin up a new site for a matter or a work group or something very quickly. It doesn't need to be a tutor or a developer at all. It can just be a paralegal or a secretary or even an associate. We have those developers, though. We have a number of customers that have teams like that they can build out on top of IQ. A number of places with HTML, that anything to do in HTML, you can put in our platform. JavaScript as well. We've got some amazing things that our customers are doing with JavaScript, moving on top of our platform. But beyond that, if you want to go that next step and say you have some kind of logical application that is beyond what you can do in sheets, we just announced last week at the forum integration with Neotologic. So that integration is, as I was doing at Northern Fulbright, you can embed an application into Collaborate. But beyond that, they now added the ability for Neotologic to access the files module so that it can either pull files in or push files to the files module, and also the iSheets module. If you have a iSheet that is populated, Neota can go through, pull out individual columns, do some analysis, and return results back to the iSheet or to the files module in the form of a report. Very impressive, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. We also, in February, announced integration with Raven. Raven does contract view and data extraction. So it has also integrated with the files iSheets module. You can upload files to the module. Raven will pull files out and identify pieces of data within that unstructured document that it can then output iSheets, and now you have that content in a structured format in an iSheet. Those are the initial two editions that we've done with some of these other companies. But I've put a number of other logos up here. These are things that you might recognize from my earlier slide and the sandbox. I've tried to maintain these relationships. Many of these companies I've spoken to already about the potential for integration. Some of them are actually in the process of integrating. So I think we will have many more integrations available in the near future. And if you have integrations, you have existing technology that you think makes sense to integrate, we would love to talk with additional technology companies about that. So this is an example of, again, Bricolage. And this is something that we showed at our forum last week. Gave a presentation with Evan and the ILTA logic. And this is what we're calling the robot lawyer, which is a popular term these days, and there's a lot of fear surrounding it. But the reality is, we can do a lot with technology that we've really just begun to the surface. Example, you can see this is a graphic that's showing the concept of files to our files module, where it takes it, outputs data to iSheets, and the ILTA grabs that data, its analysis, and outputs back to iSheets, as well as a risk report to this module. I have made a blog post on this. You can go to our blog at blog.highq.com. It's explaining exactly what we did at the forum last week. And also at the very bottom of that blog post, you can actually see the video of our presentation. It's a 13-minute video, and it walks through very clearly a particular use case. It explains how the technology works, and it shows it actually working in action. In conclusion, HighQ is your starter sandbox. It does absolutely everything, but as you saw the quote from Jennifer, it's hard to imagine a problem that the HighQ could not be used to help solve. What we're trying to do is create the consumer technology in an enterprise environment that allows you to rapidly prototype solutions to any problem that you have without necessarily getting your software developers involved. To build these powerful, intuitive, secure, and easy-to-use tools, and if you have other technologies that you want to use, or if you have devices that you want to use to build on our platform, you can do that within HighQ Collaborate. One more completely unsolicited quote from a good customer of ours. HighQ is the digital innovation toolkit for law firms. Unfortunately, that was my quote, so I guess you can take it with a grain of salt. But I believe that I left the firm and joined the company because I want to make this real for others. And with that, willing to take any questions if there are any.
Lady, to ask a question, please key star then 1 on your telephone. If you decide to draw your question, simply key star 2. Alternatively, you may submit a question on the WebEx. To do this, please click on the Q&A tab indicated by question mark sign and click send to all panelists. So Sean, if you wish to ask a question, please key star then 1 on your telephone. Thank you.
Ryan Stedman here. I have a question that has been a frequent question from a number of clients. With the number of use cases that Collaborate can provide for, and it really is limited to the Imagine, so to speak, how would an individual at a law firm such a journey with regards to implementing Collaborate? Let me be more specific. So often you have knowledge workers that are very used to their as-is processes. How would one motivate a project to kick off with Collaborate where you could start comparing as-is processes to the efficiencies gained with a Collaborate platform? platform?
Well, so, as I said, our platform was originally, this was 15 years ago, built as a deal room and extranet platform. It's not common for law firms specifically to acquire IQ for that purpose. What I find is very common is after a few months and discover anything else they could possibly do with it. I apologize, I've got some sirens going off behind me, so please ignore that. What you can do, though, is put it in-house for whatever particular reason that you've had. Excuse me, sorry about that. I hope it's too loud. They should stop shortly. They're testing the fire alarm. So what you do is if you've got the product on hand, when you get one of these use cases that comes in, someone comes to you and says, hey, I have a problem. I need to be able to do this particular thing. When it's an opportunity to branch out and see what else is possible within the platform. Call to me or to one of my colleagues could help you very quickly spin up a new site with the modules that you would need for that use case. We could put a sheet that is going to meet those needs. We can work with you to do that. It's very simple, but I think with having the platform on hand so that you can quickly turn around these prototypes and get some buy-in from the stakeholders within your firm.
Thanks very much. Are there any other questions, perhaps, from the audience? Well, just thank you again for participating in today's webinar. Some of the cooing of fire alarms in the background. I really appreciate your time joining us today, and our details are on the screen. Again, I'm Ryan Stedman. I'm with TIPS. My details are there, and Ryan McLean are there as well. With that, I wanted to thank you again, and please do to us if you do any interest or would like to have further detailed demonstration.
Thank you.
Presenters, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes your conference call for today. You may now disconnect. Thank you for joining, and have a very good day.